So things are changing and I have a couple updates and I've come across a couple hard truths. Welcome back to the channel. So throughout my time on this channel, I have talked about a variety of different whips I've been working on, different projects, all of that. But one of the first ones that I talked about on this channel that actually went somewhere was a book that I referred to as Katy's book. Now, Katy's book was originally a part of an interconnected standalone series that I had following a group of siblings, and I had one book for each sibling, and I had plans to make it like a series as such. But I found myself having to put it down a lot. Not so much the first book, Katy's book, but I found myself having to put down the other books in this series. I tried writing Sanders' book multiple times, and you guys watched me struggle with that and really struggle with actually writing this book and coming up with good plot and enjoying it, and I honestly was not having fun writing this book. And so I put it down. I put them all away and I didn't touch them for a while, honestly, several months. And I recently got back into it, but it was after I had a bit of time to sit down and think, well, talk. What I ended up doing was I ended up sitting down with my fiance and I had a discussion with him, which you should understand as I talked at him for probably close to an hour while we were walking to dinner and back, and I came to a couple realizations. For one, when I first started this project for the Redlers, I had one book in mind. I had Katy and Zeke's story. I had Katy's book in mind as the story. That it was the only one that I had in my head when I started this project. And I added the other ones because she had siblings, and so I wanted to do all of them. I realized after talking this through with John that I was approaching this completely wrong. But let me back up a little bit to this past summer and what really triggered me having these ideas and trying to think this through. This past summer, I wrote my very first full-length novella. I say full-length novella as if a novella can be another length, but I wrote and completed my first novella. And I'm very excited and very proud of myself for finishing that story. And when I wrote it, my first thought was, oh, I should write the other people at this ranch. I should write their stories. And I realized I didn't want to, but that while they may deserve a story, I wasn't sold on the stories. I was sold on the story I had written, but the other ones, they could come or they could go. It didn't really matter to me. And if there's anything I've learned about writing is if the emotions aren't real on my end, there's no way they're going to be real on the reader's end. But I came to a realization at that point, and that is that not every character will get their own story. And that is something that I will have to accept as an author, that not all of my side characters will get their own books. Not all of my side characters will get their own novellas. Not all of them will get a short story even. And so it's a difficult concept it was a difficult concept for me to wrap my head around for a bit, because I always approached it as each side character, the way I write side characters, they all think they're the main characters in their own stories because they are also fully fleshed out beings as well. I don't want side characters that are just two-dimensional. No, you want them, they all think that they all have a story that's all about them, but it's their story. It's not the story I'm focusing on. And so what I realized I was doing, especially with the Redler series, was I was writing Katy's book as a part of a series that you have to read. I wasn't writing it as a standalone romance novel. it wasn't one that after I went through my draft of it, I realized that you couldn't jump in and just read Katy's book. You would have had to have read the other ones as well, and since I hadn't written those, I didn't like that. So, about 5 days ago, I restarted. I had an idea for how to restart Katy's book, and I decided this time I was going to approach it as a standalone. And so, starting 5 days ago, I started rewriting Katy's book completely for draft 1, and it's a standalone now. It is a standalone romance novel. It is contemporary with a bit of thriller thrown in there. It is brother's best friend, forced proximity, and it is friends to lovers, basically. So I'm really, really enjoying writing this, and just as an added bonus, I've written 10,000 words in 5 days. If that doesn't tell you I'm much more invested in this book than I was in like any of the other ones for this, any of the other ones I tried for this series, I don't know what will. But I have also realized I am at the very start of my career. I really don't have the ability to just write books that I'm not sold on. I need to build a backlist. I need to build up my own portfolio of books. I am planning to indie publish these things, which will be a whole video later if you guys are interested. But in order for me to get out the books that I want to, as many as I want to, with all of the different ideas I have for different stories, I can't spend time writing books I have no interest in. And unfortunately for me, that means that the other books in that Redler series are not being written. So I'm not writing those. As of right now, Katy's book is going to be a standalone. It is going to be by itself, and I'm not going to be writing her brother's stories. I also ended up getting rid of characters in that world because it proved to me, as I rethought through Katy's book, these characters are he's not essential. He's not essential to the plot. He's not essential to my character development. And I got rid of one. I got rid of one of the main characters. I just cut him out, and things are still going fine. Because for those people who will read the book for the first time, they won't notice he's not there. And that's the point. Does it bother me a little bit? Maybe a little bit it does. It does bother me a little bit. But it's better this way, I think. So, just to prove it, 10K in 5 days is quite a few words in a, I'm restarting this. I scratched basically the last version of the last draft of this book, the 0 draft, and I'm rewriting this whole draft, and I'm so excited for it. It wasn't my plan for this month. My plan for September was not to work on this book at all, but I am. And I'm very excited about it. And this is kind of the combination of me planning and then me going with what feels correct. And this is what feels correct for me. And I am so excited for you guys to hopefully see this book either next year or the year after when I publish. The only reason I wouldn't next year is because we are getting married and that takes up a lot of time. But I am hoping, and I think this was the right move for me, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So this was a very short video and very different from some of the other ones I do, and I know for a lot of you that were new, you were just here for the Romance Con video, and I do plan on doing some reading vlogs of the Romance Con books that I got and giving you guys reviews and such, but I needed to talk a little bit about my own writing, because this is, for me, this is where I hold myself accountable, is on this channel. So I hope you understand it, and I hope this makes sense and it's not just blabbering words, which it probably is a little bit. I'm sorry to editing me, but that's what I've got for you guys here today. If you appreciated or enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out in the long run. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, keep reading, and keep moving forward. Bye.